can't be a father. I want women to stop saying that. You cannot be a father. You are a woman. You nurture. You a mother. You cannot play the role of a father. You know, bitterness is toxic. The word of God says that. You know, in the scripture in Proverbs, it talks about it's better for a man to be on the rooftop than to be in a house with an angry woman.
That's right.
In Hebrews 12 and 14 to 15, it tells us to follow peace with all men. And then it to, verse 15, it says, looking diligently, lest any man fall of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springs up, troubles you, and therefore many be defiled. See, that's what we do. When you was talking about when we go and tell people I've been guilty of that, sharing my hurt, and people taking on that stance based upon what I'm saying because they love me. But one thing that I want to share with you guys before we get off of here, and then I'm done, with what I guess right now, what I have to say. But one thing that I want you guys to know that the whole time that I have ever dealt with offense in our ministry, I always went to leadership that was mature enough to listen and to give me advice. I never brought my offenses home and who it was with in the presence of my children. None of my kids has never, ever known my offenses or my brokenness or hurt that has taken place in ministry with absolutely no one. Because you know why? If I had did that, that would have been toxic, and I would have defiled them when I got my healing. Then they still feeling the same way. That's the rule of thumb. That's why we should not give people what is the word I want to share with people what you feel and think about an individual, and let them have the take of what you said and let that be gospel truth. Because like you said, anytime that we go through offenses or we get broken, we have to search ourselves and find out what is causing us to be so offended. One of the Sister Naisha said that really blessed me too. You said, I believe that a lot of the times that when we're offended is because of what's in us or something that we are familiar with or something that we're missing. You made that statement. I had a major problem with male authority. Anytime that a man would say something to me that was in authority, it would offend me. And I felt like that I needed to say something or just dismiss it for years until I literally had to find out, what is your problem with men, honey? Well, guess what? I didn't never have my father in my life. I didn't have that male role model in my life. So I agree with, it's just been so much that's been said here. I do agree with that. When we don't have something or it reminds us of something, and it reminded me of the void of not having a male role model in my life growing up as a girl, because everybody needs their mother and their father. Because a mother can't be a father. I want women to stop saying that.
Yes.
Amen. You cannot be a father. You are a woman. You nurture. You a mother. You cannot play the role of a father. My mother was single with us. We didn't have a father. And that was what she would say to me. I can do this. You don't need a man in your life. You don't need a man to rule. You don't need a man. And this is and I grew up with that thing that had this wall with men. That even in my marriage, when I got in my marriage, the first 3 years, it was tough because I didn't know how to submit to my husband. I felt like things that I needed to be doing with him, like bringing the money together, doing these types of things. I'm like, I ain't never had no man telling me how to do this. I ain't listening to him. until I got with Pastor George Daniels, which is our former pastor, which is Apostle Daniels' grandfather. He set me down and he had to let me know, baby, it don't work like that. He's not your father, he's your husband. And you have to submit and you got to respect him. And the things that's going to help you guys in your marriage is that you're going to have to learn that the things that he's saying is not to attack you, but it's things that's going to make the marriage better.
Right.
And from that, and he said, let me be your father. That always bring a tear.
Yes.
That man said, let me be your father and let him respect you and be your husband. Respect him as your husband. Say, I'll be your father. And let me tell you, he was a real father. I'm talking about a real, true father. He knew how to be to us as his covering and his children. He was a real father.
And that's something like what you said when you were saying, when you was having the issues, that you brought it to a leader that was mature and responsible to handle it. And that's the whole thing. You have to have a leader that's mature and responsible, that you can share these things with, and that will lead you and guide you in the right way.
Thank you for watching Kingdom Conversation Bitterness. Stay tuned for episode 7.
You know, my mom, she was a great mom, but she could not feel the void of a father in my life. She could not, you know, and even in times where me and her wasn't getting along, you know, God had to be both my mom and my dad.
To have your topic chosen for our upcoming Kingdom Conversations, email us at kingdomwomanenterprise2019@gmail.com or tag us in your post #Kingdom Conversation. For more content, such as Getting Intimate with KWE, Women Empowering Wednesdays, Kingdom Conversations, and our workshops, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and IG. We're Kingdom Women Enterprise, women empowering women.